Hi everyone, this is Carol. Welcome to my channel. I'm overdubbing this because it's very noisy in my house right now because my husband has friends over. They're all musicians and they're jamming, so I knew I would have to overdub this. So I sped it up ×2 also, so it's not as long a video. I'm going to do a straight pour. And I've checked my canvas there, as you see, to make sure that it's taut. I sprayed it with water on the back. It's a 16 by 20. And I'm starting with a little bit of white in the bottom of the cup. It's that Saks True Flow heavy bodied acrylic paint that I love. Next, we use some phthalo blue mixed with white. And then this next thing is a quinacradone crimson that is golden brand, very thin, so kind of tough to make it thick, but a really nice paint. There we have some Naples yellow with a tiny drop of that quinacradone crimson. Then I put a little more white. Then we've got a deep turquoise that I added a little bit of phthalo blue to darken it more. And then dioxazine purple, just the way it is. Then a little more Naples yellow. As you see, I'm going back and I'm just like adding more layers. I'm going to do a straight pour and see what happens here. I don't know what's going to come of it because I'm using that golden crimson color, and golden paints, while it's very highly pigmented, they're very fluid, and it's hard to get it to the consistency, I think, that is going to not sink. And as I was pouring, I did notice that it sunk a little, that color particularly. So I don't know what to expect, what's going to happen, if things are going to disperse or blend or what. So we'll see what happens here. And we'll go from there. I did put a few drops of silicone, spot on treadmill silicone, in each color except for the phthalo blue, because I'm going to use that kind of as the background, and I didn't put it in the white. So here we go. We're pouring it. You got to pour slowly and get closer to the canvas as soon as you can, but just keep it streaming. And then if you want to, when you get into the end there, you can wiggle a little bit here so you can get some interesting folds and what have you with the final colors coming out. So then after this, I am going to, instead of putting white around the outside, I'm going to put the blue, so that if some of that isn't covered, that's great. It'll be my background, my negative space. So that's what I'm doing here, is putting that all in. And I'm going to spread that around real good here. So as far as my medium, I use 2 parts Elmer's Glue All and 1 part water mixed up. So in other words, if I have a cup of glue all, I have a half a cup of water with that. I'll mix it up in a jug, and that's what I'll use as my medium. Usually my medium is mixed 1-to-1 with the paints, but again, that can differ when you're dealing with, say, this golden paint that's extremely fluid. Obviously, I couldn't use as much medium in that because it was already too thin. That's why I enjoy things like the Saks white heavy body comes out very, very thick, and then I can be the one to choose how thin I want to make it. It's a little hard to go the other way, to go from thin to thicker and add more paint, especially when you're talking about a paint that's extremely fluid and liquidy and isn't going to add any more body to it. So that's a difficulty I have with using things like golden fluid paints, as beautiful as they dry and as pigmented as they are. It's it's a tough when you're doing these kind of techniques and you need to get a specific consistency. So here I'm just popping bubbles and bringing some of the silicone to the surface before I tilt. And then we'll see what happens after that. Hopefully it'll all look good. The crimson is quite bright, as you can see, and the Naples yellow really kind of took over there too. That happens sometimes. And the weird thing is my Naples yellow, I used part liquitex Naples yellow hue, and then I had some Premier brand, which is AC Moore's equivalent of liquitex Naples yellow. And I added that in because the liquitex Naples yellow hue was really odd. When I mixed it up, it almost seemed like the pigments were separating. It was very strange. So I added the other, hopefully giving it a little more of a solid consistency. But we shall see if that matters in any way when we get our final painting here. So I'm just pouring. Always try to bring the weight back to the center before you go off to wherever direction you're going. As you can see, it helps you control it a little better. It can be pretty heavy. And see, I'm moving it back to the middle before I take it to the other side to get off the corners or some of the things I don't like. Always trying to think about the composition and how I want it to end up in its final stages, hopefully. So far, the colors are staying vivid, and I do like it. It's very odd, I think. It's pretty wild colors. I don't usually go this wild with the blue, but right now it's kind of looking like there's water and fire all at once. So we'll have to see how this looks as it starts to dry. And here I'm just giving it another final torching. And just in case there's anything more to come up, pop any bubbles. As you can see in the white there, more cells started coming up there, which is great. That blue off to the side, that's basically the base, and there's really nothing there to come through, which is fine because, as I said, I like negative space, so that's my base. Negative space would be the blue. So that's probably about it. Now I'm just going to bring you in close after I do a little more tilting, just to kind of make those latest cells that just came up, just help them to just grow slightly. I'm not really pouring anything more off. I'm just positioning and letting the cells grow. So basically I'm pretty pleased. And now we'll go down and look at it close up and see what we got. Okay, so here we go. Looking down close, you can see that all the colors did make some pretty cells, multicolors in them. There's nice striping and separation. And then when you get to this Naples yellow and the Golden's crimson, you can see that they mixed together in areas and feathered out into the blue instead of being solid cell lines. And it almost looks like fire going into water. So I'm going to call it fire water. Why not? But it's very cool effect, actually, and I'm guessing it's all because of the fluidity of the golden paint and maybe a little of that strange the Liquitex Naples yellow hue and the way that seemed to be separating. But at any rate, it left a really cool effect, and you'll see when it zooms in a little closer to the areas where the yellow and red are going off into the blue, you can see the feathered effect, which is really kind of neat. See there on the top left, and then you'll see it again on the right when I move up to the other corner. So all in all, very pleased. Going to call this fire water because that's what it looks like. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, visit my Etsy store, like my Facebook page. Please share this video if you are so inclined. It definitely will help me get the word out about my channel. And once again, hopefully you'll subscribe. And that's about it. So thanks and have a great day. Bye.